Welcome back, everybody, at Sport Federation TV. It's nice to have you along. We've got a nice big full show for you this evening. We're going to be catching up with Wandiso Kwababana. We're going to find out what's happening with the Western Cape Boxing Championships that's happening at Vibrant Sports this coming weekend. We'll also be catching up with Josh Cloete. In fact, he's on the line with us right now, and he is going to, of course, caress to us also from Vibrant Boxing Club. But we're going to be speaking to Josh. He's the president of Western Cape Kickboxing. He's going to tell us about what's happening with kickboxing in the Western Cape. We're going to speak to Karen Hotzer, the president of Western Cape Archery, and we'll also bring you some of our previous sporting highlights from sport in the Western Cape. I'm JP Nordia, your presenter of Sport Federation TV, as we look after sport in the Western Cape. On the line with me now, the president of Western Cape Kickboxing, Josh Cloete. Josh, great to have you back on the show. How are things there with you, Meneer?
JP, thank you so much to be back on the show, and it's always a pleasure to be with you guys. Also, let me just maybe not rectify you, but maybe just add on something which you just said. Years up to a month ago, I was president of the Western Cape Kickboxing Association. Subsequently, the South African kickboxing president resigned, which has allowed me now to become the South African kickboxing president until the next general elective AGM, which will take place next year.
Well, congratulations, Josh. I think we're probably going to have to change our title at the bottom of the screen now from president of... Well, I trust you are, of course, still the president of Western Cape Kickboxing in the meantime.
Yes, no, that will still stay until the next election as well.
All right. But all of these titles aside, of course, at the end of the day, it's still kickboxing. You've still got athletes, you've still got clubs, you've still got competitions. How are things going with kickboxing competitions at the moment?
The kickboxing in South Africa is quite healthy at the moment. We from the Western Cape side, we now just completed last weekend the Cape Town Kickboxing Championships. And also then the Western Cape Kickboxing Championship is scheduled for the 17th of July. If COVID allows us to do that, that will take place. Kickboxing throughout South Africa is quite healthy as well. We already had Central Gauteng championships, we had Mpumalanga championships, we had Limpopo championships, we had Northwest championships. So kickboxing is going on at this particular point in time in South Africa.
Josh, what's the average time frame for competition for a kickboxer to go from one competition to the next? We know that in some sports, like for example rugby, people will play every week. Judo will compete, have been, or as kids they used to compete every week. Kickboxing and full contact karate, sports like that, they sometimes need a bit more space between competitions. What's the average time with kickboxing?
That very much depends on the individual itself. You know, like kickboxing, especially if you talk about ring sports, if you win a fight by means of knockout, which is 1 round or maybe 2 rounds, then there's nothing wrong for you to compete in the next 7 days again. And of course, when you get knocked out or knocked down, then you are just like in boxing, you're not to be able to compete for the next 30 days.
Right.
And in kickboxing, we also have rings, tatami sports, which is sports on the mat, of which you can do literally every week.
Josh, let's talk a little bit about the fighting itself, the rounds itself. How many rounds on average in your competitions? You said you had the Cape Town Kickboxing Championships now last weekend, which that's going to be my next question about the event itself. Of course, we've got a couple of photographs here, but the rounds itself, we've got Wandiso Kwababana on the show as well, so we understand that a typical boxing round for them is 3 minutes, 3 rounds. How does it work with kickboxing?
The kickboxing is very much the same as in boxing, especially our ring sports. With our ring sports, which include K1 kickboxing, full contact kickboxing, and low kicks kickboxing. All those rounds consist out of 3 rounds, 2 minutes. And I think the reason why we have 2 minutes and not 3 minutes as in boxing is because within kickboxing we utilize the legs as well as the arms. And those are our ring sports time frames. With our rounds within on the floor, which we refer to as the tatami, is also 3 rounds of 2 minutes, whether it is semi-contact kickboxing, whether it is light contact kickboxing, or whether it is light kickboxing.
Josh, tell us about last week's tournament. A lot of clubs, a lot of competitors. How did it go?
JP, I think Cape Town Kickboxing was very brave to put up the event. It was a good championships. Of course, the first within the COVID protocols. All protocols were observed in terms of screening, in terms of medical examination, and also in terms of the fact that there was no spectators allowed within the event venue. And the juniors or the cadets were done first. And when they were finished, they were moved and asked to remove themselves from the event venue. And thereafter, we had the juniors, the bigger juniors, and the seniors to compete. So the event went quite well. No medical incidents, and also no injuries. So we were happy with the event from a South African kickboxing perspective, as well as from a Western Cape kickboxing perspective.
Yeah. Are you satisfied with the standard of the athletes? I mean, you've got to cast an eye over your athletes here and say, hang on, these guys have got to go to the Western Cape Championships next. Are they up to standard?
Well, it's difficult for me to say. My standards is not normally the standards of another person, but we had some good matchups, some good fights. Of course, there's still room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, of course. And we will see at the Western Cape Championships how it will work. And should it come to the fact that there will be a South African Kickboxing Championships later this year, it's planned for the first week of August, the Western Cape will then do the final elections, and then we will take it from there.
Well, spoken like a true coach who is always aiming for better, higher, faster. Josh, of course, the Western Cape Champs then. Just give us an indication again, when will the Western Cape Championships be and where?
Look, the Western Cape Champs is scheduled to take place in Cape Town, the Cape Town district, and that's scheduled for the 17th of June. However, we have now incident where the Martial Arts Authority of South Africa has kind of stopped competitions now in order to eliminate the COVID.
So you've got to wait for future announcements and see where that's going, and
you'll see. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah. So we will just have to play ear on terms of what government regulations are dictating to us now. Yes.
Josh, just the last question. Of course, it's an Olympic year. Do we see any connection from a kickboxing perspective with the Olympic platform?
JP, yes. Look, South African Kickboxing being an affiliate with the World Association of Kickboxing Organization, WACO, we'll be in a good position where WACO has now, a year ago, received IOC recognition.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well done.
Which is very good news for us, because kickboxing now, suddenly, we have World University Kickboxing Championships, we have African Continental Kickboxing Championships, and so one can go on.
Josh, I think we'll leave it that, and we'll of course say to you, thanks for joining us, and we wish you guys, we hope that the Western Cape Championships come off, and we look forward to catching up again soon.
JP, thank you so much. And yes, I think kickboxing in the Western Cape, we are moving forward, we're moving strong. Our districts are in place. They all are adhering to COVID protocols, and we're ready to do sports.
There we go, folks. Josh Cloete, President of Western Cape Kickboxing. Of course, now President of South African Kickboxing also. We look forward to catching up with Josh and find out how the athletes, of course, do in their future and upcoming championships. Very exciting, and also great to see that kickboxing in Western Cape is well organized and structured, and of course falling in line with all of those various regulations. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we can take a look at sport in the province. Back in a sec.